Hello everyone, Zyulls here, bringing you another TFT match, and this one is a bit special. First off, we're trying out an overlay. I decided to give it a shot. I've noticed sometimes in some of the matches here, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. So I did go with an overlay just to get a little bit of extra information. During the match right in my face, so I'm not constantly having to look over at my other monitor. But this is a special match because we are in our potentially gold promotion match. So right off the bat here, I'm faced with a Yasuo headliner and we got the multi-talented, so he does have Edgelord and True Damage active, which I think is really strong for Yasuo. So we do pick him up. And really I'm just hoping to turn this into a Yasuo reroll game. And luckily I do end up with the Titan's Resolve. It's not, I don't think it's the preferred item on Yasuo, but it is something that he can use. So we get our Garen in here, and in this early stage, I'm just peeking around with this overlay because I haven't used it before, but like I said, usually I have these other comps and positionings and leveling tiers off to the side. So we find the comp that we're looking for, and looking at these augments, nothing here is really speaking to me. I could have grabbed Remember Your Roots, but looking at Inspiring Epitaph, I know that is a particularly strong one, and evidently the overlay advises it too. I think that's really cool. So we do grab Inspiring Epitaph to kind of boost up whatever units are lingering around for us, and we'll just grab whatever units we can, level up and get that KDA slotted in to give ourselves a little bit of an early edge. I think already with Yasuo, we're strong enough with that true damage alone, and we get him in the KDA hex, and it's just a really nice early situation. I probably could have put the bow onto Yasuo, and in the very least in the beginning, just to make sure that he gets the most out of the true damage bonus. For anyone that doesn't know, true damage, you get bonus true damage dealt when the unit is holding an item. So we pick up the Yone here to get that edgelord bonus going, and then going into these next few matches, feeling pretty good. Yasuo is still able to put out really solid damage even without an item, and of course now we have Edgelord activated, so feeling even better here. There aren't a whole lot of things that could slow me down. Something I've noticed with true damage is that the walls that I usually end up hitting are like my carry getting stuck on Cassante, or Mordekaiser or Echo, and with true damage that just doesn't matter, which is really nice. Right here, Yasuo is stuck on Cassante, but he can execute, he does true damage, it's all good. And in this combat I was a little worried about losing because Yasuo did go down early, but thankfully Yone has that Omnivamp on his abilities, slashing. And going into the first carousel, we are win streaking, so we're last pick. I don't really get any of the things that I want, but we do end up grabbing a cloth. Something that we could use on a variety of different units. We could put a Bloodthirster on Yasuo, we could put the Dragon's Claw on any of our tanks that we pick up. So really not a bad pickup all around. Going into 2-5, we do 2-star up our Evelyn, and I'm just like getting the positioning set up a little bit. I cut a lot of it out for the like the downtime in between the rounds, but this is a match where I'm really trying to be mindful of where I'm positioning units, making sure the correct ones, the ones that I want to be taking aggro, do, and my carries are freed up to kind of go from the outside in. And going into this combat, we run into our first match with the country player. But right now, country isn't too strong early on, so we're able to clean him up pretty well. And at 2-6, we grab our Echo, and we're gonna end up slotting him in and leveling and get the Mordekaiser in as well. So we have another unit that can utilize true damage, and we got the Sentinel bonus now too, which is always nice. And I do like early on that I kept the Evelyn and Yone for Crowd Diver. Crowd Diver is also another trait that is very strong. Units themselves might not be too stellar, but being able to stun the backline is always nice. So Yasuo popping off a little bit here. He just hangs on. He hangs on for so long at no HP. It's kind of amazing. But we'll sell those 2 units on the bench to make sure we get 20 gold for interest. Always got to make sure we hit that maximum gain. And going into Krug, we grab the Echo, and at this point I'm really hoping for any item that I can put on Yasuo to increase his damage output. Unfortunately, I didn't find a glove here, and I really would have liked to, because then I could have either I would have the options of either doing Infinity Edge or Hand of Justice. But we are going to do a little early re-rolling, or early rolling here, because we want to make sure we hit Yasuo. Like, it seems pretty obvious, but if we're playing a composition around Yasuo, we want to make sure we 3-star Yasuo. Because if we don't, then late game, I mean, you have to pivot off of it. So here I'm looking at the Hand of not the Hand of Justice, the Titan's Resolve, and I'm like, well, I can make Bloodthirster, so I'll get that on him. Get some Omnivamp going, that way he can live a little bit longer. Actually make use of those Titan's Resolve stacks finally. And this darn Ezreal just won't sit still and let me take it out. So going into the second augment here, Lucky Gloves I didn't really want. The Diamond Hands item I don't really care for a ton. And I almost took Harm Assist. Having that Omnivamp is really nice. And I have had some really good games with Hologram. As you can see, I'm humming and hawing. But I do think Cybernetic Bulk is just better overall. So I do grab Cybernetic Bulk. I'm already getting bonuses from having items on my important units, like True Damage. So it just really makes a whole lot of sense here. And something that I always end up doing, maybe you guys can let me know if you also do this down in the comments, but I always put the units that I'm prioritizing on the left, and then on the right is where I put the ones that I don't care about. Maybe it makes more sense visually to have them on the left if you don't care about them, because you've got the buy XP and reroll buttons right there, but I always use the hotkeys. So right here, I don't see a ton in the shop that I want, but I do have that 2-star Kennen for whatever reason. So I do pick them up because, I mean, we can sell them for full value. It takes another Yasuo out of the pool. But we do manage to find a few more Yasuos here, which was really, really nice to see. And I do get a little bit greedy, and I try rolling a little bit more for it. But we do find an Echo, which I think is really, really good in this lobby, because there are a few players that are also running Echo to get the Sentinel bonus. And Echo is just a really strong tank. But right now, our comp is just a little bit too strong. True damage is insanely good, especially if you can get it going properly. And hardly anybody else in this lobby was like full sending on true damage. I really lucked out. So again, with this carousel, we didn't really get anything that we wanted because we are still win streaking, still perfect game. I think this is the longest win streak I've had in a while. I usually drop at least one round by now. But we do a little rolling and we managed to find a Mordekaiser 2-star, which is really good. Still no Yasuo 3 though. So I end up selling the Kennen there. I decide, nope, we're not going to ever slot Kennen in. We're hitting that point where I don't think I need it. We found enough key units from the comp that I'm running, which, if you're curious, it is up on the top right if you haven't noticed yet. That is the true damage Yasuo composition that I had been building for. I've played this a few other times, but I haven't ever positioned it in the way that this team planner kind of lays it out, and boy, does positioning make so much of a difference here. But this is our first loss. We finally drop around after, I think that was either 8 or 9. It was quite a long win streak. But the round before, we just sit on our shop. We don't buy anything, so just jumping straight into the combat, seeing how we fare. And this Samira is really scary because it has the Radiant Giant Slayer and Infinity Edge. And I didn't notice it at the time, but you definitely notice it early or later on when this player starts moving their Samira around to better protect it. It's really terrifying. Thankfully, though, our Yasuo is able to carry us through and execute anybody that is standing in his way. Just look at that damage graph. So right here, we get pretty darn lucky, and we find a Senna 2 just in our shop. Which is perfect, because Senna is one of the next units that we could put in. So at this time, we are still missing Kiana, which is obvious, 5-cost unit. And we're missing Viego, Akali, and Kale. So those will be the units that I'm really looking out for in the next few rounds. Hoping that I can at least pick them up and get them at least 2-starred up before I have to slot them in. And luckily, we do find another Kale here. So we get our Yasuo 3 here, which is really huge. I'm really thankful to have hit that, because then that means I don't have to pivot off of him. Which, you know, in hindsight, having a match with multi-talented, it's not the end of the world if you have to pivot off of your headliner, because you're always going to get good headliner bonuses. But here, I put an Even Shroud on Echo. I did not mean to do that. It's not a terrible item to put on him, because he does sunder the units around him, but I definitely meant to put Dragon's Claw on Echo, and it was kind of a bummer that I just ended up grabbing the belt instead of the other cloth. But like I said, it wasn't a terrible thing, like putting a, I don't know, like like a death blade. That would just be tragic. But we do start to get our win streak back going, and looking at these final augments, we don't want the investment augment. Ascension, I go back and forth on. Sometimes I really love it, but other times it just doesn't matter. And I figure I've already got Inspiring Epitaph. Let's grab the Healing Orbs, kind of compound and go hand in hand together. So here we find a player that's running EDM, and they are quite scary because I think they did a really good job of prioritizing which units need what items. That blue buff on Lux is a really smart idea. But right now, it's not proving too much of a threat. Obviously, that comp will be a lot scarier once they get their units started up more, and they're able to cast more frequencies. So we had another round where we just sit there and chill in the shop, so jumping straight into combat. We can see our crowd diver popping off there, stunning whatever unit is causing our tanks the trouble. But thankfully, we're still going strong. This was a moment of realization that, oh shoot, I do need to flesh out the comp a little bit more, and get these other units started up, because that one was definitely close. There is a world where we lost that. But looking back at the items that I have on the bench, and I do end up deciding to grab the tier. I could have grabbed the bow, but I wanted to have that chance of having a unit with a blue buff, because like I said in the last video, blue buff got buffed. Blue buff buffed. Try saying that 10 times fast. And blue buff is really strong and a good option on really any carry. Gives that AD or AP. You get the bonus when they get a takedown, and starting off with more mana for your cast is always really good. So I put that on Senna, fully prepared to just get another Senna to sell it and get it on Kiana should we ever see her. And thankfully we're able to get our Yasuo into the backline carry here, so that Jinx can't really do anything to our tanks. That ended up being pretty big. So here we pick up another Senna, and we're back against the KDA player. We can see we get a little crowd diver action on our backline, which is a little scary. And Akali keeps skirting around, dodging whatever our carries are doing here. This is really close. But thankfully our Yasuo is able to execute the Akali. Here we finally find our own Akali. So we pick up our items from chickens. Even if you get a unit that you want to slot in, there's really no reason to on chickens. You should just take the free round to get the interest. We'll sell our anvil here, and looking at the items that I've already got, I've got a few on Yasuo. I'm looking at what I have for Akali though, because she is true damage. She swaps between KDA or true damage, whichever you have more of. So I was trying to see if there's anything I wanted there for her, but I ended up going for the belt. And here I wasn't really sure where to position Akali. It took me a little bit to realize, right a little bit into the combat, that Akali needed to be on the right side by Yone. But I put the rod on her. It's something that she can make use of. But I really just want the item on her so that we get the true damage bonus to go along with our trait. But we do end up losing. I think we might have done better had I positioned Akali correctly, because then Akali could have gotten onto the Ezreal faster. But we'll see going forward. So going into 5-2, we throw a little points into leveling, and I do realize nope, Akali needs to be on the right. And looking at the units that I have left in here, I've got Kale on the bench, but I don't want to slot her in yet because I don't have a Viego. I don't want to give up the Edgelord bonus, because that is buffing our Yasuo. And if I just swap out Evelyn for Kale, then I'm not gaining another tier of Edgelord, and I'm also losing out on Crowd Diver altogether. So it's just not worth it at this time. But this is the moment I realized, oh shoot, this Samira is no joke. She is really powerful. Her Yasuo just barely beats her out. But we'll pick up our 2-star Kale, so that's on the bench waiting for us, and throw a few levels down before we go into combat here. This player's there's a few people in this lobby going for Lucian. Lots of big shot here too. And unfortunately, our carries aren't able to get onto theirs fast enough, and we do go down. So this is another carousel where I'm pretty much taking last of the pick. A lot of the items that I was hoping to get right away, I just couldn't. I did think about getting the pentakill emblem. Maybe potentially throwing that down on our Yasuo, but I opted for the Bramble Vest. Really, I just want my front line to be more frontliney. The longer they can live, the more opportunities our carries have to do their job. So level up, we get Viego in, and I do throw in the Kale for the Yone here. But having second thoughts, I'm like, no, I could put the Yone back in and get Edgelord. Edgelord 5. This is our second go around with the EDM composition. This is where it really dawns on me, oh shoot. I need to star up some of my units, get some better items on them, because at one point I was undefeated, and now I'm starting to lose rounds quickly. So I think the best thing I could do is get Kiana in right now to hit that true damage 6. I did contemplate, because there was a headliner Akali there. I'm like, do I ditch the Yasuo? It is 3-starred. If it was 2-starred, I definitely would have. If I just was not finding Yasuo. But to be fair, he'd probably be long gone before this moment. But we do go up against the country player again, and I'm a little concerned here because every other time we've just barely beat him recently, and this time it's not looking good at all. Our carries went down. Really the only way we can win against this player is if somebody else takes it out. So here for the dragon, we'll pick up Viego and Yone. I'm really hoping I can get some solid item choices from this dragon. We do find a Hand of Justice, and I was very happy for that. So we get that Hand of Justice on Yasuo, give him a little bit more Omnivamp and attack power. We do find another Akali. Fortunately, I don't really have an item that I can throw down on her to really make use of that rod, but we do find Kiana finally. So we will swap out that Yone and get our max true damage bonus, and like I said earlier, we give her the cloth to give her that bling bonus. Now that we got Kiana, I'm feeling a lot better about this. Kiana is going to help our units get more items, which also goes hand in hand with the cybernetic bulk. And we almost beat the player with a Lowy too. It was real close there. But we hear the sirens. We made it to top 4, so I'm pretty pleased at this point. really all I wanted to do was not lose out on LP because we were so close to hitting gold. So after a little rolling, we do find Echo 3. A few of the players that have been playing Echo did go down, and we managed to get our Senna too. So I moved these items over to Kiana. I thought about putting the Rage Blade on her, but I'm like, no, I gotta make sure Senna also gets that bling bonus. So we leave the Rage Blade on her. It might have been better to put her on Kiana in hindsight though, because Kiana can give Senna items too. Maybe that's a thought for a future match. But here we are at 6-3. Grab the Mordekaiser because there still is a chance that we can. There still is a chance we can 3-star him. And here I'm contemplating putting Even Shroud on Kiana, but we also get Morellonomicon, which would allow Akali to burn and wound whoever she's fighting. So I do opt for that. Kind of mitigate some of that healing on whoever she might be towing up with. Looking at the HP bars, this is a very close lobby. Really, it's anybody's game here. But thankfully, we got 2 units against this Ezreal, so we are able to take out the healthiest player. So looking at this carousel, this is also one that I wasn't too thrilled with. There aren't any units on the board that I need, and none of these components are really too exciting. But I do manage to get a glove on a Sona, so we can sell that for max gold. We can use that glove to at least get a Quicksilver on Kiana. Kind of mitigate some of that crowd control that might come over her direction. Here I'm just rolling as fast as I can to star up any units that I have that aren't 2 or 3 starred. Really this late in the game, I don't want to be holding on to my gold because I'm only 2 losses away from being completely knocked out. So any unspent gold is just a hindrance to me. Especially with being so close to 3-starring some of these other units. And unfortunately, this is the moment of realizing that we're probably never going to beat that player with playing the 5-cost composition. Their board is just way too strong for ours. The only shot we would have is if I could like 2-star Kiana or 3-star Akali. Probably both, in all honesty. But I was holding on to this Yorick for a while, because there was somebody else in the lobby that was playing Yorick. So I wanted to make sure I didn't run into a buffed up Yorick too. But we did end up selling it. Try and get a few more rerolls there. This is that EDM Jax player that we lost to before. Thankfully though, our board managed to prioritize the right targets, so we do end up taking the player out. Get to see that awesome KDA all-out Akali animation. We go into our second dragon of the match. It's down to just me and another person, and here we've got somebody in the chat being a little cheeky, saying to FF. I always hit them with the no and the smile, because even in my League of Legends games, I never surrender. Even when it's doomed, there's always something that you can learn from it, and at the end of the day, I'm just there for a good time, and I have a good time just by playing, so... Here we'll grab our orb and see what item we get, and nothing too outstanding. I don't want to grab the Thieves' Gloves, because I want Kiana to be able to do her thing. So I end up getting a Bloodthirster for a Kali, get a little Omnivamp, and really I just try rolling as fast as I can to see if there's a chance. Unfortunately, I did not get so lucky. So, very much know the match is over at this point. Probably not going to win. Maybe I could have gotten a little fancy with my positioning, but that is a whole other specific, like, countering that I don't know. That's another skill set to learn. So we do get taken out by the Aurelia and score ourselves a pretty solid second place finish. But going out of the match, I wasn't expecting it, but we did get promoted to Gold 4 finally. So this isn't my personal best, but it is back in the division that I started in, or not started, but like finished off in set 3. So I'm feeling really good about it. I'm very happy that I was able to do this within, like, I think 2.5 weeks of coming back to the game. But yeah, now I just have to get back to my personal best, which I believe is, I want to say it's gold 2. It might be gold 3. I know it's either gold 2 or gold 3. I don't think I hit gold 1, because if I was that close to plat, I definitely wouldn't have stopped. But at this point, I'm just rambling. Like, comment, subscribe. As always, only if you feel like it. Don't feel obligated to. But that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys in the next one.